Hello students and welcome back to my channel. This is the Children's Nutrition series of videos, and today's video is about pediatric, enteral and parenteral nutrition. So expect to learn the different types of nutritional support for children who cannot eat and digest food normally, as well as the indications, feeding tubes and potential complications that we can encounter. Hi, I'm Tommy. I am a human nutrition student and researcher at the university. What I do in this type of videos is to synthesize what I learned at the university during the classes, so then I can explain and teach you the best and most valuable information you need to know. So let's begin by talking about the pediatric enteral nutrition. Pediatric enteral nutrition. So it's the use of artificial defined composition formulas in the gastrointestinal tract. Enteral means intestine indeed. Indications and contraindications. To know those, we have to do a nutritional assessment following what? ABCD. So the method we saw in the previous videos: anthropometry, biochemistry, clinical, and diet. This is to detect the malnutrition, which quite often is linked to dysphagia. And here we have the indications. So when there is a severe or progressive malnutrition, when there is an inability to meet the requirements, when certain pathologies are present that require enteral nutrition, or maybe when there is a contraindication for the oral route. What are the contraindications? Non-functioning gastrointestinal tract, mainly. So things like necrotizing enterocolitis or peritonitis, intestinal perforations, paralytic ileus, or intestinal obstruction. So what route and device we choose? We always have to choose the most physiological route and device. So that is oral, the normal way of eating, then oral with supplements, then enteral, and as a last one, the parenteral. Can also be mixed, enteral and parenteral. If oral way is not enough, don't wait to use a device, because we are going to encounter malnutrition. So it's very important to choose the device wisely. And how to choose a device? Well, following this simple diagram. Can the gastrointestinal tract be used? No. Then parenteral nutrition, short-term, peripheral parenteral nutrition, long-term, central. We will see that in a moment. If the gastrointestinal tract can be used, then the first choice is oral. But when in the oral one there is an inadequate intake, so below 70% of the recommended intake, we go through tube feed. And here we can choose the device. So will this treatment last more than 3 to 4 weeks? No. Then we have the nasogastric tube, or the nasoduodenal or nasojejuno tube. So a tube that enters through the nose and goes to either the stomach, gastric, or the intestine, duodenal or jejunal. If the treatment lasts more than 3 to 4 weeks, then we have to do a gastrostomy or a jejunostomy. Stomy comes from stomia, which means hole. That is a hole in the stomach. Gastrostomy is a hole in the stomach. Jejunostomy is a hole in the intestine, and through that hole we can have this tube to give the nutrients. So how do we calculate the requirements and choose the formula for them? Well, the total energy expenditure is done using the Schofield equation, and it basically is the BMR, the basal metabolic rate, multiplied by the physical activity level. And we have to choose the formula based on these parameters. So based on the age, we have 3 formulas: for infants, pediatric, or adults. Gastrointestinal function: is it polymeric, oligomeric, or elemental? And based on the requirements, normocaloric or hypercaloric. And other variables are things like liquid or powder format, with fiber or without it, and spatial formulas. But in general, for children, we give the pediatric one, polymeric, normocaloric with fiber. Pediatric, polymeric, normocaloric with fiber. And the administration period can be either intermittent, cyclic, or continuous. And here, as a general rule, we choose intermittent. And then there is the follow-up and monitoring. We have to take in account the amount of food they tolerate, as well as what a child of their age usually eats. We do not provide this enteral nutrition with haste. We have to go bit by bit, and we must avoid silly excuses for the interruption, because we are not going to have enough time to actually evaluate the treatment. We have to perform a continuous reevaluation of the ABCD parameters. So anthropometric biochemical, and clinical, based on how the diet changes. So how the ABC will change when we modify the diet. And the recommendation here is to keep the mouth trained, stimulated, and clean even if not eating, because the goal is to get back to the oral nutrition, the normal way of eating. And now it's time to talk about the pediatric parenteral nutrition. This is a supply of nutrients through a vein, so straight into the bloodstream. It is used as a bridging tool to regain normal nutrition. Can be mixed with enteral or used alone, as we said before. It is used in situations of risk of malnutrition, such as premature infants. They have high growth, high needs, and cannot be left without the nutrients they need. If they have a problem and cannot use the gastrointestinal tract, we have to provide the parenteral nutrition. Short-term indications: when there is a digestive pathology, for example, a lower absorption of nutrients through the gastrointestinal tract, then parenteral nutrition is recommended. Or maybe an extra digestive pathology, when there is not that much appetite and people don't like to eat because they feel pain. So it's better to give them parenteral nutrition. And long-term indications: when there is a permanent pathology of the digestive tube and there is an inactivation, so it cannot be used anymore. Then what are the types of venous access? Since we are going to give the nutrients straight into the bloodstream, we have to pick a vein. Which ones? It can be peripheral or central. Peripheral ones are usually in arms, and we provide a diluted formula of 900 milliosmoles of concentration. And this is for a partial nutrition. It's not complete. It often goes together with the enteral nutrition, and it is only used temporary. And then we have the central one, which is a concentrated formula of 2200 milliosmole, and this provides a complete nutrition, and it is meant for the long term. So peripheral for when we have, for example, a surgery to do, we give a peripheral one, and the central one when things are going for the long term. And how do we adjust the formulas? Because they contain water, macros, and micros, of course. Well, we have to adjust it according to the patient's needs, based on their metabolism, on the physical activity, on the growth, on the stress due to illness. Yes, very important. This will increase by a lot the total daily energy expenditure. And also there is a correction for the pre-existing malnutrition. If they have to regain some weight, then probably they're going to need more calories. And then there is the cycling of parenteral nutrition. So it is very important to progressive interrupt the parenteral nutrition administration. Why? Because this will protect against hepatobiliary complication, and it will improve the quality of life as well. But there are also metabolic advantages, and this will allow a prolonged use of the parenteral nutrition in case it's for the long term, for years. And the possible complications, well, it can be mechanical, either an obstruction in the tube, thrombosis, or extravasation, infectious. So it's very important to tunnel the tube before entering the vein, especially in a central one. So we have to run the tube under the skin a little bit before entering the vein. And metabolic complications, so difficulty in growth. So the cycling of parenteral nutrition and the complications that it can have are all things to take in account during home parenteral nutrition. Okay, this is it for this video. I hope you understood everything I said. If you didn't, there is a comment section down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you get notified every time I upload a new video. If you find value in this, please share it to your friends and family to spread this knowledge to them as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one, in which we're going to talk about nutrition in the premature infant and the growth failure. So stay tuned for more information on children's nutrition. Ciao! Hope you enjoyed.